tip number 3 for effective marathon pacing is train hard. It's a little more complicated than that, but what I mean specifically is that, again, this notion that regulatory anticipation, training doesn't just make you fitter, it also calibrates that pacing mechanism. So what it can be very helpful to do in training is not just to train hard, but in the final several weeks before you run a marathon, select a few weekends, 3 or 4 weekends, to do especially hard workouts that are very, very race specific. And what you're doing is you're subjecting your body and your subconscious brain to very similar feedback to that which you will actually experience in the marathon itself. A couple sample formats are what I call a long hard run, which is where you maybe warm up for a mile, and then you'll do 20 miles at about 20 to 30 seconds per mile slower than your goal marathon pace. You're taking your foot off the gas a little bit, going a little short. It's a little shorter and a little slower than your marathon, but you're going to be good and tired by the end, and that'll do a good job of making yourself, your brain and body, more familiar with the unique misery of running a marathon. Another format that I like to use is the marathon pace run. That's where you warm up for a mile and run shorter. You don't want to go too far in these, but I usually max out at about 14 miles, where I try to run exactly at my marathon pace. 15 miles total, 1 mile warm up, and then I use one of these Garmin's, the GPS devices that tell you how fast you're running, so you can do it anywhere, and you know if you're running right on your pace or not. Otherwise, you need to measure out a course with your car odometer, or somehow know how far you're going, so that you can. It's really important to nail that pace, to have it as close as possible, and know it. And then another particularly grueling format for these peak level workouts is what I call the pre-fatigue time trial, and that's where you run maybe 10 miles easy to start, and then run a 10K absolutely as fast as you can. So it's like you do a 10K race all by yourself, but you run 10 miles first. It's very hard. It's a hard workout, but the idea is that it won't take as much out of you as the marathon itself will. But that last 10K, when you're really pulling out all the stops, by the end of it, you'll feel much like you're going to feel in the last 10K of running a marathon, and that's a good thing, because it'll make you fitter, and it'll also improve your brain's ability to properly read feedback. Because if you don't do that type of workout beforehand, you might even be too conservative. Your brain might hit the panic button when you start to get really tired, when you still have 4 miles to go, when in fact, if you've done one of these workouts beforehand, you learn that, I can actually still keep going for another 4 miles, even when I'm hurting this much.